23rd, 2010. Coming to you from my brother's apartment in Gokurakuji, Japan. Today I was supposed to go to a vegetarian symposium, but didn't because I decided to just stay home and defrag my hard drive. Also, it was just kind of a nice chance to get some alone time, as that is rather hard to come by, as you can imagine, living in a small house with 3 people. Don't get a whole lot of time to just kind of hang out and do your own thing. So, yeah, just kind of been catching up on some news. Finally finished downloading this group of Disney shorts, one of which was rather disturbing. It's called Education for Death, and I thought when I saw the title, like, that's kind of interesting that they would tackle such a serious topic as death, and they must have like kind of an interesting, take on that. And, it was made in 1943 or something. Right away when it started, it was obvious that it was not some, introduction for young children about like what death is, and how every winter, trees die and they come back in the spring, and any kind of happy feeling thing like that. It definitely wasn't. It was all about Nazis and how Nazis come to be, and how Nazis are these brainwashed, German youths who from infancy are fed this lie about, Adolf Hitler and how he saved Germany, and it was crazy. It was true, I guess, but it was just obviously like, a pretty intense piece of propaganda. But at the same time, it was really interesting to see, a company like Disney put out such a video. Anyways, it's on YouTube if you want. Education for Death by Disney. I highly recommend just checking it out as a piece of history. So then, and then I was also, there's this whole thing on NBC right now. I have a whole thing I want to say about Haiti, but I'm going to maybe save that until next time, because there's like some other not as important things that I want to talk about right now, just because it's on my mind. But I do have a lot of views on Haiti. When I was in college, for some reason, I had this weird obsession with Haiti. And, it's a really fascinating country if you ever kind of look into the history of it. But anyways, next, video, we'll talk about that. But anyways, yeah, so there's this whole thing at NBC, on NBC going on right now with, like, Conan O'Brien walking away from The Tonight Show. And so I've been kind of, I love Conan O'Brien. I think he's hilarious, but I've never really watched his show with any regularity. I'm just not that kind of person. I don't stick with anything, really, unless it's, something like the BBC Office, which had 2 seasons, like that's easy to get through. I can stick with that. Or Spaced. I love BBC shows because they, for the most part, except for like Blackadder or, Monty Python and Red Dwarf, everything has pretty short runs. Coupling only lasted like 4 seasons, and their seasons are really short. So anyways, so I've been kind of going back and watching old episodes of The Tonight Show, and man, it's just, he says, I've got the greatest job in the world. Like this last closing monologue that I saw of his, he said, I've got the greatest job in the world. Like every comedian wants this job, and I'm sure there's some people that, hear that and they're like, oh, well, he's just saying that because he loves his job, and that's great. But for me, like hearing him say that, I'm like, yeah, that is the best job in the world, because, if anyone watching out there knows me, I love talking to people, and though I often fail, I also really enjoy being funny, or trying to be. It's something I want to work on. I'm actually, as soon as I get my life organized, I'm going to be taking some classes up in Tokyo at the Tokyo Comedy Store. I want to do this improv class that they have, and also start, doing open mic stuff again. But yeah, I was just watching it, and man, it's just, he's got just the ability to do so many cool things. Like any idea he gets, he can kind of like incorporate into a show. Which I was listening to an interview with Jimmy Fallon recently on NPR, and he was talking about that, how he had all these ideas that he wanted to do for his late night show, and some of them worked and some of them didn't, but the point was that he got to try them. You know, he got to try and see what would work and what didn't, and he has just like a lot of freedom being a late night show host. It's really kind of cool. So there's that, and last bit of news before I cut this off, because we're at 5 minutes now, is I finally got some design work. Check this out. So this is my brother's a flyer I made for my brother's yoga studio, and he folds out, and it's got all this information, and it's got like, you know, his class schedule on there, and like contact info. And then on the back there's this cool picture of these like sacred mountains in Japan, and a little like poem. And you know, it folds into this neat little book. And so anyway, so I made this for him, and he then proceeded to show it to some of his students, and one of them said, hey, I need something like that done. So I've actually gotten a few jobs now, and I've only done one, but there's other opportunities kind of in the works. And but it felt really good to get paid to do something I actually enjoy, as opposed to, you know, work. You know, it didn't feel like work. You know, I was actually just having fun showing this person how to, you know, fix her flyer and to make it kind of look a little nicer. And then she paid me for it. And, you know, that's stuff that I've been doing for free for years. So to actually get paid to do it felt fantastic. Definitely better than bagging groceries or, you know, sitting behind a desk. Yeesh. So anyways, that's it. It's my Saturday so far. My hard drive is 15.84% done. It's gonna take a while, you know, 1 terabyte, which still blows my mind. You know, my first modern computer had a 1.6 gigabyte hard drive, and now I have a 1 terabyte external hard drive, and that's just insane. So anyways, signing off. Hope you guys are all having great fun out there in the real world, and I will talk to you later. Oh yeah, I had to use this thing because the audio from my internal microphone wasn't picking up, so I've had this down here the whole time, so you couldn't see it, but maybe I'll do that. I'll add that with like some music, so it'll be like, but it'll be somebody else screaming.